once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.
This is UMAR for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're in Las Vegas, the new home to Gypsy King. It's fight week. Otto Wallin. Life good, Ben?
Good. Same shit, different day. Preparing for Saturday.
Spoke to Tyson about this just now. Boxing public have been very, very critical actually. We had a bit of criticism with Shorts, but I felt it's more intense with this one, with Otto Wallin. Who selects the fighter? Who puts it? I know you spoke to BT about this, the list of fighters that weren't available, your top 10 guys basically. Who suggested Otto?
You know, we work together as a team. Honest truth is, this is the God's honest truth. Tyson said, leave it to you lot. So obviously between myself, Queensbury Promotions, Top Rank, and who play a big part, MTK, and together we go through the list, what's available, what's not available, and we select opponents.
I think some of the criticism may come from the fact that he is unknown, an unknown quantity, let's say. So just tell me about his amateur background. I heard you say something, I didn't even know this, that he beat Fraser Clark in the amateurs.
Beat Fraser Clark in the amateurs.
Shocked me, because Fraser is this next big thing.
Yeah, and he's Fraser's a good boxer, but Otto is a lot better than what people think. You know, and if you watch his fight, which isn't available, so I don't blame people, because you know his biggest fight was against Adrian Granite, which people haven't seen, and he punched the grandmother out of Adrian Granite, boxed his ears off, and boxed very well. Now he's tall, which is what we wanted, obviously, because see the thing is, the Deontay Wilder fight is signed. So it's not like, well, where are you going? We know where we're going. So, like I said, we've wanted height in preparation for the Deontay Wilder fight, and the same thing.
Southpaw though.
Southpaw. Now, I liked the idea of boxing the southpaw because he's gonna ask questions. He's gonna make Tyson think. It's not straightforward. He can be awkward, he can be cute, he could be a bit clever. So I want that. I want him to ask questions of Tyson. I want Tyson to have to answer them, have to think a little bit in there, overcome a few obstacles. And I don't think it's going to be a completely straightforward fight, because Otto's a smart boxer. It's going to be a difficult one for him because he's going to have to make a decision. And it's his first time at the big dance. So he's going to have to make a decision now. If he attempts,
What was that?
If he attempts to box with Tyson, you know, Tyson needs to make sure that he dominates him at long range, at that distance, and make sure he controls things at that distance. Then Otto's got to make a decision: does he want to win the fight and take a chance, or does he want to survive? Now that's his decision. We don't know what answer he's gonna come up with, because he's an unknown quantity. He's not really been overly tested. So that's one of them. But what I will say is,
Light in difficulties.
We'll sort that out in a second. What I will say is, I don't think that it'll just be a straightforward walk in the park. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think there'll be some obstacles that Tyson has to overcome, and that's what I want. I want that, and we need that going into the, you know, with Pianetta we needed rounds going into the Wilder fight, and this time I want Tyson to have to think a little bit.
I was just going to ask you that. Obviously with Tom Short we didn't get rounds. Say Tyson goes in there, puts a great combination on him, catches him, he goes, ends a fight within 3. Is that going to be kind of a failure in some sense?
It's not a failure, is it? It's not a failure.
No, but in terms of if you want rounds, then
yeah.
What I'm saying is, would you be pleased if the same thing happened with Shorts?
Obviously, you can't say he wasn't pleased. You know, my job is to be critical. So obviously, there are things in that Shorts fight that I looked at and thought it's not quite what I asked for. But how can you criticise the performance and the result? Obviously, in an ideal world, we would get some rounds before, because he's had a round and a half so far this year. In an ideal world, we get some rounds before going into that Deontay Wilder fight. If it doesn't happen, what can you do? You're in a fight, and if an opportunity comes, you have to take it, because this is world level boxing. He's ranked number 4 with the WBA. He's a 6'6", unbeaten southpaw who's hungry, and hopefully he's gonna want to give it his best shot and take chances and take risks and lay everything on the line. But if the situation arises where there's an opportunity to end the fight and Tyson takes it, then that's boxing, because if you don't, they can end you.
I'm probably going to get flack for this now, but I'm just giving my honest opinion on this. With all this criticism coming towards Tyson and yourself as well about Schwartz and Wallin, you got to remember in 2016 he boxed Vladimir Klitschko in Germany. I know he's a mandatory, but he still travelled there and won the fight.
2015, yeah.
2015.
End of 2015.
Was it end of 2015, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They literally won every round out there. They had to give him the fight, which is very rare in Germany for a British fighter to do. Then obviously we had the long layoff and he had his difficulties. Forget that.
Two comeback fights within the space of fucking 8 months,
yeah.
if that.
And
June, July, August, September, October, November, December. It wasn't even get through December, so within probably 6 months, boxed Deontay Wilder.
And with all due respect to Seferin and Pianetta, they're not Deontay Wilder,
Obviously
so
not.
it wasn't ideal preparation. He went to America, massive fight week, loads of pressure, beat him, and showed that he can. I know showed it in the Cunningham fight, but he showed twice that he could get up from Wilder's power. And then he said he's going to fight Wilder again. It's been signed, but he's still getting all this flack.
Because there is always going to be flack. See, so what's good? Do people think that good preparation for Deontay Wilder is to have an hard war? It's not ideal to have a big hard war, go through training camp after training camp after training camp, and keep having war after war after war. No, of course it's not ideal preparation. Wear your body out, wear your mind out, wear yourself out before you go into a big fight. People should be appreciative that Tyson has come back, and with the space of him being back in 2 years, he gave 2 Deontay Wilder fights. Once this one happens, obviously. You know, not bullshitting and looking for an excuse. And listen, I don't want to get in a slinging match. I don't. But I saw Eddie say that ESPN and whatever, they've fucked up on this thing and whatnot. But how have they fucked up on this thing? They've got the biggest fight in boxing signed. Who has fucked up there? Nobody. The only people that have got worries on their hands is DAZN and Sky, because if Joshua gets beat again, which, you know, I like Ruiz, but I do hope that Joshua wins. And my heart, I do hope he wins.
It's great for British boxing if he gets some belts back.
Yeah, 100%. I hope for himself, because he's done a lot in the sport as well and whatnot. And also I want to see the job get done for Rob McCracken as well. I do want to see that.
Someone else has been getting a lot of flack. Yeah.
But if he is to get beat again, who's fucked up there? Only DAZN and Sky. And you know, I think Andy Ruiz is a good fighter. But who was he before that happened? You can't underestimate anybody. It's heavyweight boxing. I know people say it and it's a cliche, and you know,
well, it is a lot. But we saw it on June 1st, so
how many times do people need to see it? Do you know what I mean? Anything can happen. Everything's a big risk, and you know, I just think that people should be appreciative. Often it's the armchair fans though that criticise and this, that, and the other. You know, I think real boxing fans appreciate that Tyson, you know, in 6 months gave him that Deontay Wilder fight being back. How long have they been trying to make a big fight like that, and it's not been able to happen? So within the space of 6 months, Tyson made that fight, and within the space of another 6 months, got it signed again. If 6 months, got it signed again for a rematch. So
even though he's boxed Klitschko and Wilder, it could be more understanding if this Wilder rematch wasn't signed, or Tyson kind of said he didn't want it.
I would be a lot more understanding.
Then
I would say, do you know what? People are thinking, well, what's coming next?
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to keep seeing. People want these big fights, of course. People don't want to keep seeing, you know, a so-called underdog. People don't want to keep seeing them. People want to see, you know, big fights, unification fights, and all the rest of it. And you know, with Tyson and Wilder too, you're getting the biggest fight in boxing, in my opinion.
And it's not like we have to wait ages. We're in September, Christmas will be around the corner, and then February 22nd.
Of course, and Wilder's having a fight, Tyson's having a fight, and then they'll get it on.
Isaac said that he doesn't think Wilder Ortiz is going to happen. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything for sure. I've heard that they've got a new date, but we'll see. We'll see. But whatever. Listen, same thing for Deontay Wilder. I can only have respect for the man. Do you not think he's got in the back of his head, whatever he says, he will have in the back of his head, fuck, I could be made to look stupid again here, February 22nd. But after what happened in December 1st, knowing that Tyson come on a layoff, and he signed to have that fight again. I can only show respect for that man. And, I know preparing for a fight, Tyson will say what he's got to say, Wilder will say what he's got to say. But I know they will have, and the God's honest truth is, preparing for this fight, we've not even discussed Wilder, me and Tyson, because we're preparing for Otto Wallin, and we will not overlook anybody. But I know deep down they will have a ton of respect for each other for sharing a special fight like they shared the first time round. They both took a big risk and fought each other, showed a lot of bollocks, the pair of them. And do you not think Deontay Wilder's got in the back of his head that he could get made to look silly?
Absolutely, he was that close to losing the first fight with Ortiz.
But he's and not with Ortiz, with Tyson, he could get made to get his ears boxed off. So, he agreed to sign that fight as well, and fair play to him and his team for agreeing to do that.
We get these suggestions that Wilder doesn't want to take certain fights, Tyson doesn't want to take certain fights, but with Deontay, you've got a guy who really didn't need to take that Ortiz rematch. As I said, he was that close to being beat, and I don't know how many pay-per-view buys that's realistically going to do. I mean, it's a big fight, but it's not mega, is it, Wilder Ortiz? But he's still taking it.
But you know what? Because he took a risk and fought Tyson, knowing Tyson's skill set, and he's took a big risk in signing for the rematch, as has Tyson. Guess what? They're both getting paid a fucking shit ton of money. A shit ton of it. But they've had to take a big risk. Both of them have. Both of them fighting each other is a big, big risk. One can punch and probably knock this building down, and the other one's got the skill set to make you look like an absolute idiot. And that was at his worst. Not at his worst, but definitely weren't at his best.
So these purses for the rematch, they're serious, yeah?
Serious purses. Obviously all their fights are serious purses because they're willing to fight the best.
But the way you describe the purses for the rematch, like, it's on another scale to anything you've seen. Listen,
it's not my place to say and talk about, but obviously they're getting paid a hell of a lot of money, but people probably don't like that, and I keep seeing people say, oh, you're getting paid this and getting paid that to fight so and so and fight so and so, but it's not just for that. Do you not think they've put years and years and years and years and years of hard work in to get to where they're at now? Do you not think they took a massive risk on fighting each other? Both of them. Do you not think they took a massive risk in signing to fight each other again? It don't come for nothing.
What do you make of his recent comments? I'm talking about Deontay. Do you think it's just tongue-in-cheek that he wants to fight the winner of Joshua Ruiz and gives Fury step-aside money?
I don't think he said about giving Tyson step-aside money.
Benson, he put that out.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said that, exactly that, the fact that he wants to become undisputed now, fight the winner of Ruiz Joshua, and just give Tyson the step-aside money. So he'd be breaking the contract, but I don't know if there was something in there about step-aside money.
Listen, I can't say on that front. Obviously, there's a lot of broadcasters, promoters, advisors, managers. There's a lot of people involved there. And I can't really say whether that can happen or not. What I will say is exactly what I just said there. He's probably thinking, do you know what? I've got a lot easier, not an easy fight. Whoever fights Joshua or Ruiz, they're risky fights. But he's probably thinking I've got a lot better chance or an easier option to take one of them fights. And he's probably thinking, like I said, in the back of his head, I've got an opportunity. Potentially could get made to look stupid again here. against Tyson, and I know deep down in my heart he's going to be a lot better. Going into the first fight, he said Tyson didn't beat Klitschko, Klitschko beat himself, and he was half saying, you know, the man's turned up for his money. How can he do anything with me when he's coming off of a layoff and this and that and the other? Then obviously the fight happened, and straight away in the post-fight press conference he said, that's the best Tyson we'll ever see. Well, you know, how can it be after the layoff and that? So, but he's probably thinking that in the back of his mind. Whether it can happen or not, listen, I don't know. I don't want to get involved in all that.
It definitely won't be for the undisputed though, because that IBF mandatory will get called. There's the WBO removes it. Yeah, he could unify still, but I don't think all the belts could be on the line.
I don't know. Like I said, listen, for us at the minute, there's nothing. Life for me doesn't exist past Saturday, and that's the way I am. Whether it is a 4-round fight or it's this big fight. So,
well, aside from your man Tyson, I do want to get your thoughts on Joshua and some of his recent comments. He called Lennox Lewis a clown on a Sky interview. I'm sure you've obviously seen it. What was your reaction when you saw that?
I don't know. I can understand. He was probably very annoyed at the time, thinking, do you know what? I don't need a kick stamping while I'm on the ground at the minute. Do you know what I mean? He's human at the end of the day, and he's showing some emotions, and I think that's good because, like I just said there, you know, I think that when boxers get to a certain level, maybe it's just people, I don't know, but when they get to a certain level, they start to let me branch off here and branch off there, and he's probably thinking, well, I'm going to invest in property and I'm going to do this and let me expand and get involved in this and get involved in that. But at the end of the day, you're a fucking fighter, and if you take your eye off the ball, there's going to be an upset and you're going to get tipped upside down. That's what happened. I think maybe he might have thought, do you know what, I need to be fully focused on boxing, fuck everything else, because that's what you do when you finish your career, and get fully focused on boxing, and nothing else matters. Commercial things and this and that and sponsors and blah 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 and all this, put it to one side, because that's not the main focus. You know, somebody near the other day was talking about, is it okay in 2 or 3 weeks? I said to him, whoa, don't mention in 2 or 3 weeks, because life don't exist until after Saturday. Don't talk about anything past Saturday about can we do this, can we do that, until Saturday's done with, because Tyson's a fucking boxer. That is it. Don't focus on anything else, especially at this point. And in terms of he looks like he's got that bit of, do you know what, I've got something to prove here, and I think it'll do him a world of good.
He made an interesting comment to Coogan as well. Coogan said the fact that if you get them belts back, what do you want to do next? And obviously he said, you know, first I've got to get them belts back, but after, he wants an easy fight. I think these were his words generally, I'm sub-quoting him. He wants an easy fight. I want to fight someone like Otto Wallin. I want to do what Tyson Fury is doing, suggesting that cherry pick it basically. Again, we've spoken about the whole criticism and the fact that Fury's got Klitschko Wilder and doing it again. Do you think it's a bit harsh from him?
You know, I think that, like I said, I don't want to get in a slinging match or whatever. I think that people probably would have said, he's boxing Ruiz.
People did say that, let's be honest.
Yeah? I think people would have said that. So it goes to show that I don't think there's no such thing as a easy fight. Unbeaten fighters are unknown quantities a lot of the time because you don't know to what limit they can go to. People thought that Klitschko was going to walk through Tyson. You know, these things do happen. But I can also be understanding, if I'm being neutral, that he's probably thinking, do you know what? I don't know who's in control or who's in charge, or if he's got somebody else dealing with it, whether it's in it, management or this or that, and he's probably thinking, do you know what? I need to go about my business in a different way, because
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, the CV of fight, his CV to fighters he's fought back to back have been very good.
Very good, very good. But you know, it's been. Listen, he's done a fantastic job. I don't want to get in a sling match, so I don't want to say too much on it. But he's probably just thinking it. He's probably just thinking it. But like I said, he's probably. The difficulty is people are saying, "Oh, this, that, and the other," but he hasn't fought. And this isn't. I'm not thinking and starting. I don't want to get in a back and forth thing, but he hasn't fought like the main competitors of his generation: Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Yeah.
Yes.
And he hasn't fought them. Okay, but Tyson and Deontay have fought each other. I don't know if that's his management's fault, whose fault it is. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I'm not involved there, so I don't know. But them to have Tyson's fought Klitschko, who on his way up was the best at that moment. Yeah, he beat him. You couldn't have beat a more legitimate champion. He was the longest reigning heavyweight champion in history. Not the most offences, but the longest reigning.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Joe Louis had the most offences. Vladimir was the longest reigning. You couldn't have beat a more legitimate opponent to become the unified heavyweight champion.
In Germany as well.
In Germany. Then obviously what happened. Comeback had the 2 comeback fights. Then fought Deontay Wilder. You know and at the time it was Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua who was the best. So he fought one of them. Yeah, one of his main competitors. He fought him.
And he's fighting him again.
He's fighting him again, and in between that, there's 2 fights. Whether it's to whatever people want to say, whether it's to build the fight up, whether it's to as part of his comeback because he rushed into the Wilder fight, whatever people want to say it as, that's what it boils down to. And you know, I'm sure if Joshua boxed Tyson and the same thing had happened and he had two fights in between or whatever it is, I'm sure people would. They're always going to say the same, like you're saying. There's criticism. There's always going to be criticism. If Joshua's not boxing Wilder or Fury, Fury's not boxing Wilder or Joshua, Wilder's not boxing Fury or Joshua, there's always going to be criticism. But you know, I think the fans, like you say, are more understanding when Tyson's done what he's done and fought the best competitors of his era.
Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah.
Seeing him back in Sheffield.
Yeah.
What's going on there? Are you still with him?
He's training with Dom for this fight. Obviously, we've been over here for a while, and he's had a date. He was supposed to be boxing in October, so it was a bit close. It's been pushed back to I don't know, and so he's gonna finish off his preparation there. But listen, I've worked with Billy Joe for a long time, on off. This job isn't about money for me, so he's a friend, and if he said to me, Ben, can you help me out for a week? Can you help me out for 2 weeks? Can you do this? Can you do that? I'm going to help him because it's not about money. Obviously I get paid for doing what I do and I wouldn't be used and abused, but you know, we'll work together again, I'm sure, whether it's partly for the next fight, whether it's after that, whenever, but whether it's just small bits here and there, we'll work together for a long time.
Whatever happens with Billy, I do want to ask you a couple of questions. We haven't actually spoken to you about his deal with Matchroom. Came as a shock at the time. It makes sense him jumping on his own, just because of the amount of middleweights on that platform. They're all on his own now. But you know, Billy and Eddie have had their back and forth. Obviously, Billy's been so close with Tyson, and there's been that for so long. But he signed him. How long did you know about it? And were you surprised?
I knew about it for a little bit. Was I surprised? No, not really. Where else was there for him to go?
But just maybe a bit. I don't know. There might have been a pride thing. I don't want to sign with you.
Great business from Eddie and great business from Billy Joe.
Absolutely, yeah.
Billy Joe's getting paid a shit ton of money. Eddie's got a fantastic fighter on his hands and a world champion. So I don't know. You know, obviously people would have said, "Oh, maybe he would have joined Top Rank with Tyson or whatever." But in the middleweight and super middleweight division, most of them are over on DAZN. Billy Joe spent long enough, you know, trying for those fights, and Frank done a fantastic job of him, building him up.
2 world titles.
2 world titles, getting him there. But it was tough for Frank to take somebody away from, to get somebody over for Billy Joe from another platform. So you know, Frank wasn't bitter about it. That, you know, it was all left on mutual and good ground. So you know, it made sense for Billy Joe to go there. And listen, Eddie's a smart man because he can say things one way. You know, he's very clever at saying something at the time, and sometimes it's a bit tongue in cheek, and he might have a bit of back and forth, but he knows what he's doing, obviously, and you know, for Billy Joe it's a good move, and I just really do hope that he gets those big fights. I do.
The second part of the question on Billy, what do you make of him potentially, it's not confirmed, fighting on the undercard of KSI Logan Paul, two YouTubers, so you're going to have a world champion boxing on their undercard?
Like I said, listen, I said before, I don't want to get in a slinging match because I don't want to have all that back and forth and all that nonsense. I just want to be focused on what I'm doing. And you know, I might have been a little bit critical of some things there, what Eddie's done, but I've got to give him praise where praise is due. And I know a lot of people are speaking negatively about it, but boxing is a business at the end of the day, firstly, yeah? So that fight's going to generate a fucking lot of money. So for DAZN, for Eddie, fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. For boxing, people are going to say it's a bad move, but is it not bringing a lot of new potential fans to the sport?
Is it? People, I get both sides of the argument. So yeah, there's going to be a load of eyeballs on that fight. Billy Joe's going to have to box on an undercard. He would never got that exposure before. DAZN are going to get a load of subscribers. But if you're tuning in for that, are you going to tune in for a Canelo fight? Are you going to tune in for a Golovkin fight? That demographic of people. Are you going to tune in for an Usyk fight on DAZN?
Well, do we know how many people watched the first fight?
I think it was like 1 million pay-per-view buys, 1.3 million pay-per-view buys.
1.3 million pay-per-view buys,
at
yeah.
£5.
At £5. So say 10-20% become boxing fans and start watching the pay-per-view.
5%, that's a true point, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's still a lot of people and a lot of money being added to boxing. I'm sure it now being a professional event with a world-class bill. I'm not going to say undercard because I think that's a bit of a fucking liberty, to be honest. A world-class bill on it. I would say there's you know, going to be paid very well. I don't see anything wrong with it, to be honest. I don't see anything wrong with it. Boxing fans can watch a quality undercard if it's got Billy Joe Saunders in a world title fight on it.
Devin Haney's apparently on it.
Devin Haney, top quality fighter. Billy Joe Saunders, elite, super elite. And if you don't want to watch that last fight, turn it off. If you do, and say you're just tuning in, you're one of these people that just want to watch that fight, but you watch the full undercard and you think, oh, what a great night. And say you've got a family of 4 watching it and one person wants to stay, that's a quarter of people, 25% of people that want to stay and join and become boxing fans. Fantastic, brilliant, why not? And if you don't want to watch it, no problem, just turn it off, I'd imagine. But I don't know.
Actually, another point Eddie's getting hammered for with this Ruiz-Aj 2 rematches landing in Saudi Arabia. Another thing we haven't talked to you about on the channel. What's been happening? You've been in Marbella. You've obviously been in Vegas for a few weeks now. That's why we haven't had you on. Yeah,
and I've not gone to any boxing shows. I had the Billy Joe fight, I had Tyson's fight, and I went straight back into camp. I took Billy Joe over to Spain to start doing some training because his fight was supposed to be a lot sooner than obviously the situation happened where he done a deal with Eddie and that. So I've been busy, just keeping my head down. What about Saudi Arabia? What do I think about it?
Yeah.
Again, it's a fucking shit ton of money, isn't it?
I'm sure Tyson's going to box out there one day.
Maybe not. I don't know. I can't comment on that. Maybe, but again, you know, it's bringing new money, new leases of life, new fans, new opportunities. and expanding boxing. I don't see what's wrong with it. You know, listen, if somebody offered Tyson enough money, he would probably box there. Yeah, he loves that boxing all around the world, loves it. So, I know it's outside. I don't know what the temperature's going to be like when they're fighting.
20 degrees. So like September London night. In December.
No problem. No
decent,
problem.
That's right, yeah.
Listen, good move. He's getting the lads plenty of money. I'm sure he's putting a nice little bit in his old skyrocket. So, what's wrong with that?
I ask as well because I'll be surprised if Tyson doesn't at least have 2 or 3 fights in the Middle East, because their vision is just all the mega fights. They come into the Middle East. That's what Saudi want. I mean, they spent 8 figures on a press conference that Ruiz-Aj won last week.
On what?
On the press conference. I don't know. Like a movie beforehand.
A movie about what?
It's just Saudi Arabia.
Oh, nice.
Eddie said that they spent 8 figures on a press conference. So the amount of money that they're going to pump into boxing, I think they said they want all the big heavyweight fights there. I think they talk about Canelo fights there as well. I'll be very surprised if your superstars currently ain't going to.
How much is a flight over there?
I don't know. It's a 5-hour flight. So
5-hour flight. Listen, it's quicker than flying to America then.
Yeah, New York's 7, isn't it? And Vegas is 10. So I'm not sure. I don't think it will be too much.
Obviously, there will be cultural potential problems. I don't know.
So Adam Smith, obviously head of Sky Sports Boxing, said, can he bring women out of his team? Like, Sky have got women. He said no problem. Obviously they can't dress like complete explicit.
Yeah, but what can they dress like?
Normal clothes, I think.
A dress,
jeans,
cleavage.
Top. I don't know about that, Ben.
Can they? A serious question.
I
Can they wear skirts? Do they have to be foot cover the ankles? Do they have to what? I don't know. Hair? Is the hair okay to be all done?
Yeah, I think they don't have to wear a headscarf,
but does it have to be neatly tied? Does it have to be neatly tied? I don't know. Because
no, you don't know.
Listen, you have to respect people's culture.
No, of course.
You have to respect people's culture, especially if you're going there. You can't just go there, take the money, and be like, we're doing what we want. You have to respect their culture.
But I
100%.
think they're trying to. So what they're doing is with tickets, you get an automatic visa, so you don't have to bother with that. So you buy a ticket online, you get a visa, and they said, kids, women, whatever, you're allowed to come to the fight. I think they want to be as open as possible, and Eddie's kind of shown videos during press conferences of the fact that I think Mariah Carey did a concert out there recently.
Did Nicki Minaj have some problems over there or something?
Did she?
I think so. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I think I heard something about it. I don't know.
But I think they're trying to change the image. Listen, like Dubai and.
But they don't want you. You wouldn't want them to change their culture. You wouldn't want that. That would be very disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
I don't think.
And I think the problem is, if people were going over there a bit, you know, being a little bit false form, trying to, and not respectful of their culture, that then you could there could be a problem there.
Well, listen, you're obviously not going to get alcohol there. You're not going to gamble out there. If you dress too revealing, that's not going to go down too well. But as long as you keep normal, like there was fans on Twitter saying, "Oh, Eddie, what if we want to have a drink?" And Eddie was like, "Well, obviously you can't. Don't come if you want to have a drink out there in Saudi Arabia."
So it's for pure boxing fans.
But if you common sense, if you just apply a bit of common sense, you should be okay.
Yeah, listen, if you're just a pure boxing fan, if you're not, it's not for the type of fan that just goes there for the event, for a night out, have a drink, have a booze, bit of whatever. It's not for that. It's for boxing fans, obviously. So you'll have to see. You know, is it worthwhile? Is it going to be a success? You know, we don't know. Are they willing to keep trying? Maybe it's a success first time. Maybe it doesn't go too well. Maybe
disaster. Who knows?
Could be a disaster. We don't know. It's something new. But at the end of the day, all I give a shit about is how the fight goes. I may even go and watch it myself. I might even go and watch it. Why not?
What's your pick?
What's my pick? I don't know.
Joshua's still a favourite with the bookies. Interesting, that really.
I think. Don't know. Like I said, listen. I want Joshua to win. I want Joshua to win for Rob McCracken, partly, and that's just me being honest. I think he's a good trainer. I think he comes across as a good man. I think he's done a fantastic job with a lot of fighters, and I think this flack was very unfair. I just think Joshua needs to understand and be able to create distance and control distance without exchanging punches. He needs to know how to do that to be successful in this fight. He needs to be defensively. When he's I don't think he was 100% used to being bombarded with so many shots.
Who's got in his face like that and done that before?
I think he needs to be a little bit better eyes defensively under the storm. But Ruiz comes across as a fucking great guy, doesn't he? So
oh yeah, he is.
You know, I don't know, but may the best man win, I suppose.
Interesting though. I mean, got that fight. Hopefully, Tyson and Deontay both come through their fights, and then huge clashes really. Usyk's in the midst. Tyson made some comments about Usyk that he beat him with one hand tied behind his back. Obviously, there's no history between Tyson and Usyk.
And one thing I've got to say is Usyk's very, very honest, and he did openly say, I've seen him say, Tyson's too big for me.
Oh, did he say
I've seen him say that, yeah.
Really?
I've seen him say that, and I've also seen him say in a different interview that, you know, Tyson would be the most difficult. But I did see him say that Tyson's too big, so, you know, but Usyk's a fantastic fighter. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on at heavyweight. I think with somebody his size or less, he'll do very well. I think with the big Joshua and Wilder and...
Oh, you think Joshua and Wilder are too big as well, physically?
Yeah, they do, to be honest.
Okay.
But I'm an Usyk fan, I do like him. And seems a good character as well.
He is hilarious to be fair, yeah. Just the last one as well, Alexander Povetkin.
Yep.
Coming off a recent win, he basically made it clear he wants to fight Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I'm sure he does, doesn't he? Now.
Would that motivate Tyson though?
Would it motivate him?
No world titles.
Don't know, but being realistic, what? Say Tyson went, okay, I'm not going to box Wilder, instead I'm going to box Alexander Povetkin. What would people say?
No, I don't think that would get received badly.
What if he went, I'm not going to, let me not fight Wilder?
If he pulled out the fight against Wilder, is that what? Oh no, obviously then. Obviously then.
So,
No, I'm saying, God forbid this Wilder rematch doesn't happen for some reason.
Yeah.
Because Deontay's been making all these comments, right? So say he's out the equation. Say the winner of Joshua Ruiz is out of the equation because of mandatories, which will happen with Kubrat Pulev, someone who didn't take the fight with Tyson because he knows he's got a shot at a world title. Now Tyson has made it clear these alphabetic titles they don't mean anything to him. He's won them all.
I wouldn't say that. He doesn't mean it in that way.
Does he not?
Doesn't mean it in that way in terms of they don't mean anything to him.
What does he mean?
What he means is he believes he's the rightful, the legitimate champion. So
people still try to downplay this lineal thing.
Listen, like I said, you couldn't have beat a more legitimate person to be the lineal heavyweight champion of the world.
But yeah, so if Wilder's out the equation, if the winner...
let me just say about those things. So he believes that he's the genuine champion. So at the minute is what he's saying. He doesn't believe that the belts are, or these alphabetical titles are what they should be worth or what they really are worth, because they're not with the rightful owner and the rightful champion and the legitimate champion. And obviously we feel, and 99% of the world feel, that he beat Deontay Wilder and he's the rightful owner of the WBC belt as well. So, you know, that's just what he means by that. That's not taking anything away from anybody else. That's just what he's saying. You know, he feels that, you know, as long as something's not with the number one, the numero uno, the main man, then it's not. Then they're not the main focus point.
Okay, so that's cleared up. So it does mean something to him then, but
it's not like he thinks, oh, I have to find a way to win those belts back.
Like a lot of people say it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Heavyweight say that.
He doesn't think that really. But he has respect for the organisations and all the rest of it. But he does feel that he's the number one. So if the belts were to be with number one, the belt should be with him. But you know, it's not how boxing works.
So hopefully this doesn't happen. But say we get a case where the mandatory gets called, which is 99% going to happen with the winner of Ruiz-Aj. They're out the equation. doubt Tyson's going to box the loser of that. Wilder, for some reason, if he pulls out, he's gone. Would an Alexander Povetkin, would an Usyk fight? I'm trying to think of other names.
Potentially.
Would they get Tyson up?
Potentially. Although Usyk, I think, will be called for the WBO mandatory, won't he? So I wouldn't imagine he'd take that fight. A bit stupid, but depends what's important to him. But if it's money, maybe he'd take it. Povetkin, potentially. Depends on what's a bigger draw then, because he doesn't bring anything to the table. It's what people would view as a bigger draw, and what works best and what the plan is, because obviously, God forbid this Wilder fight doesn't happen, it wouldn't happen without there being a plan behind it, you know.
Taking them Ruiz, Joshua, Wilder, Dylan White out of the equation, Povetkin next, isn't it? Ortiz maybe, but it's really old.
It depends on what happens with the Wilder fight. Povetkin next, I don't know. Maybe. There's some other good fighters out there. It massively depends on what happens, you know. Like you got Pulev, who's supposed to be boxing, called for the IBF, I'm sure Big Baby will be back soon. And
well, he's fighting Joe Joyce apparently. I don't know whether it happened, but Frank's been tweeting a lot about it.
I don't know, but I can't really say what would make sense or not, because we're talking in a completely mythical world at that point. Because
I think the Wilder rematch is going to happen anyway. So. And
we're talking about. Put it this way: if he's willing to fight Wilder, do you not think he's willing to fight Povetkin?
No, that's not the question. That'd be stupid to say, "Oh no, I don't want to fight that."
Would that fight make sense?
Yes.
I don't know. It just depends. Like I say, what's a bigger draw, and what makes the most sense, and all the rest of it, and what is coming after that, and what is, because that fight's not going to happen without something being in place.
Let's just get through Saturday first.
Exactly, and obviously, like I say, listen, we're focused on Saturday, so we're talking in the mythical world, and nothing will be happening if he doesn't come past Otto Wallin on Saturday.
And same with Deontay with Lewis.
Same with Deontay and Ortiz. Same with anybody, because even if you're on a 4-rounder in your call and you're boxing a journeyman, if you don't get through it, forget it. Forget the rest of your career, because every fight is a world title fight. Because if you don't win it, you're setting yourself way back.
Isaac Lowe, opponent-wise, he said, I think he's taken Benair the distance. I don't know when that fight was.
He's a tough old chavvy, yeah. 2017, I think it was.
Okay. Took him 12 rounds.
Yeah.
So he's not fighting.
10 rounds, I think that
was. It 10 rounds?
Yeah.
So he's not fighting a Binman, Isaac.
Fighting a Binman. Went the distance with Michael Conlon the other day as well. A little while ago. The other day. A couple of days ago. In March, I think. And who else?
Isaac said he wants to box in December. Wants to box in the UK in December.
Potentially.
He hasn't fought in the UK for a while now.
He hasn't. No, he hasn't. He did in March.
Of course he did.
At Brentwood Centre,
MTK show.
Just a tick over.
Yeah.
But he's been defending at WBC International. But listen, he's got some lessons to learn, because you know he come back into this camp very out of shape. He's had to struggle. And let me tell you, if he boxes his kid's ears off on the weekend, I'll be very impressed. I think he's due for a tough fight, simply because he gave himself a very, very tough training camp, because he burnt the candle at both ends after the last fight.
Well, what's his weight like? Because he said he could still make super bantam.
He could make super bantam
okay.
when he looks after himself outside, and I think that if Isaac's to box for a world title, that's where it should be. But after the last fight, he burnt the candle at both ends and didn't give himself much time. He's had a very, 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 very tough training camp that's been focused on making weight. So, you know, to have to go the distance against a very, very tough man, after, you know, having a training camp like that, it's going to be a tough ask. And this fella's not just you know, he's not just going to let you work and dictate the pace. He's an experienced man, and when he sees you want to rest, he's going to make you work. And I think Isaac's in for a tough fight. So, you know, I'll be very impressed if he makes easy work of it. But he's caused it himself, and I'm not going to hide and say, oh no, it's been fantastic, and you know, everything's great. I'm honest. I'm going to be honest, and he needs to learn from that. And I think he's learned from that because he had a very tough training camp, which led to very tough spars because he's had to focus his training camp around making weight. So, lesson learned, and hopefully he's not made to pay for it Saturday. But I've got full faith in him. He's got plenty of heart, and he'll be successful on Saturday.
Just the last one actually. What's the crack with Tommy Fury? Is he back in Hatton Gym?
Don't know. Tommy's coming over here on Thursday, I think. Tommy's coming over on Thursday, so you can ask him.
I will do.
I don't know, but I'd like to see Tommy back in boxing because, you know, I'm not just saying it. I think he's a fucking good talent. I think he's got real potential. Yeah, I've seen him punch shit out of some good kids, some good fighters. He's got almost like a David Hay sort of style, and I think you'll see the best of him when he's fighting tougher opposition. The tough thing is gonna be is he's now got this following, and
2 million followers, isn't it, or
something like that. He's now got this following, and he's got a name out there, but he needs to be given time to develop as a fighter and as a boxer, which he needs to stick to. He shouldn't be rushed in anything. He's a young lad, but I think I've always thought from day one he's dealt with the media and the pressure of being Tyson's brother very well. I genuinely hand on my aunt, not for any other reason, nothing against the show, nothing against Tommy. I didn't watch the show because we was away on a training camp during the show, but from what I heard, he come across very, very well, and I'd like to see him do well. I think he's a good kid. I think he's a nice lad. I think he can fucking fight, and I just think I'd like to see him back in the gym and focused on boxing. I'd like to see, but obviously whoever, if he's with BT Sport and Frank Warren and that, but I think they're going to have to put their hand in the pocket because he brings his own attraction now. I'm sure there's lots of people that are going to want to see him fight, but he also needs time to be able to develop. So,
would you be open to working with him?
Listen, Ricky trains him, and Ricky's a very, very good trainer. Ricky's known for obviously what he's done as a fighter, but
he's won a world title as a trainer.
He's won a world title as a trainer. I think he's a very, very good trainer, Ricky, and he's been working with Tommy from the start. So.
All right, Ben. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
Me to your lovely residence in Las Vegas.
It's not my residence.
No.
It's the El Rey de los Gitanos residence.
People upstairs, I saw. Yeah, lovely Mexican gentleman. It's going to be a Mexican.
No, it's Tyson. The El Rey de los Gitanos means the Gypsy King.
Oh, I thought that was his name.
No, that upstairs is Jorge Capetillo.
Jorge Capetillo.
And in Las Vegas, if you come into Las Vegas, visit Capetillo Boxing Gym.
Okay. It's going to be a Mexican themed event on Saturday night. Huge week here.
Listen, Tyson's very, very honoured and very proud to be accepted by the Mexican people to be boxing on Mexican Independence Weekend. And the Mexican people have been very welcoming, very loving, a lot of positive feedback. So I think it'll be very Mexican based in there. Brilliant undercard, world title fight. Zepeda. He's boxing. What's his name? Oh, sound rude now. Pedraza.
Oh, yes.
Good fight.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Coming off that decent performance against Loma.
And let me tell you, that Zepeda, he is mustard. Yeah. But I've seen him in the gym look very, very good. I hope he can do it on the night. I just saw that he tenses up a little bit on the night. I think he feels like he's got to do a little bit more than what he does in the gym, but he doesn't need to. If he can be and perform how he performs in the gym.
He trains at top rank gym now?
No, this was when he was at Wildcard, but I don't think he's training there now. Not sure where he's training, but he was sparring with Isaac in the Wildcard gym, and an absolute gentleman as well. And I also saw Devin Haney sparring at Jorge's gym with some of Jorge's lads. Very polite lad.
Yeah, he's very nice, too.
Very talented boxer. Dad's a very nice man as well. I had a good conversation with them, and I wish him all the luck and all the best for Friday.
Tough fight against Abdullayev, but if he wins that, he's a mandatory for Lomachenko.
Yeah, but I think he's got the right attitude. Do you know what impressed me with him? Very, very talented lad, but hungry to learn. Not got an ego. Wasn't always looking for advice and accepting to advice and where can I improve, and you know, I thought that was very good, because often, especially a young lad, when they're having success and a lot of success, they can get above their station very quickly and they can think, I haven't got to learn anything, or who's that, or I don't need advice off him, or don't try and tell me how to do this, or da da da. You know, he was looking for advice, hungry for advice, hungry to learn, and that's what that impressed me massively.
That's a key thing with you, isn't it?
Do you know what it is? You can never stop learning. Never stop learning. You know, nobody knows it all. You can always pick something up, and no boxer can. You can always be better. And the moment that you think, I don't need to learn anything, or don't need to be any better, you might as well forget about it, because eventually you're going to get beat. And especially with these young lads now, because they have a lot of success, and very quickly they can go from having not enough confidence to too much confidence, and it's hard to get that balance. And I think social media plays a part in that as well. But I was very impressed with his ability. Watched him spar 2 or 3 times. Was very impressed with his ability, but I was more so impressed with not just his work ethic, but his level-headedness and eagerness to learn.
One thing that's just popped into my head, yeah, got to mention it, on no filter boxing, when you're struggling with them, what, like 1 kg
2 kilo weight.
2 kilo weights, and people are like, what, Ben can't lift that? Like, I actually thought it was serious.
Some people.
Jesus
what
Christ.
can you do? The good acting though, wasn't it? Did you see the way that even putting them back on the rack, I was like,
Anyways, yeah, thanks for your time, and I'm sure we'll catch up after the fight.
Yep.
And yeah, all the best. Anything you want to add?
Peace out.
Shoutouts. Well Hydrate.
Well Hydrate, MTK Global, marbella.co.uk.
BoxFit.
But big shout out BoxFit. Listen, they've done a fantastic job all through Tyson's comeback. They've done a fantastic job on the kitting the team out, fight kit, training kit, unbelievable job. Worth every penny. And shout out
Top Rank,
Queensbury Promotions, Applied Nutrition. Shout out
Mexico.
Shout out Viva la Mexico.
Tim Dog.
Shout out Tim.
Christian.
El Rey de los Gitanos. Christian. Benny fucking Blanco.
Where's Asky?
Asky's coming over this week. Shout out Big Shane, Yui, Big John, Paris, all the kids.
BT.
Shout out Tyson's brother, John Boy as well. Shout out BT Sports. Shout out ESPN. Shout out Jorge Capatillo. Shout out Brendan.
Oh, that's Brendan.
That's Brendan. Will you do an interview with Tim? Just ask him
Yeah.
Right, go on then, we'll cut this off here.
Yeah, go on, we'll crack on with Tim.
Once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, and he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.